Hi, garden friends. Welcome back to the Garden Girls podcast. I'm Meg,
I'm Dagny.
and our friendship started in a group chat where we were talking all things plants. And today we are inviting one of our very special friends into the group chat again. This is her second time being on the pod. We have Brooke Morgan, also at What Brooke Grows on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, right? And
Yep.
all the things. You're
Yep.
everywhere.
She's
I
finally there.
I am now everywhere. Yes, yes. I'm now everywhere. Yeah, thanks for having me for a second time. Last time I was on the pod, I was very close to getting married, and now I'm very close to having a whole child. So we've really hit a few key chapters in the What Brooke Grows timeline.
A lot has happened.
Yes.
A lot has happened. And that was only in November, I feel like. It wasn't even
Yeah.
that long ago.
Yeah,
You've been
listen,
busy.
I don't waste
Wasted
time.
no time.
No, I'm a girl who knows what she wants, goes out and gets it, you know. So
love
yeah,
that.
no, it's been a little bit of a wild year, but excited to be here with you guys. This is so fun.
I know. It's good. I can't wait. And also just having gone through this whole system, we both went through the first trimester in spring and we're dealing with this craziness and can relate and have been relating in DMs quite a lot about that. But yeah, you've managed to
much.
get so much done. And you're still already now putting in a fall garden, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty mental, I'm not gonna lie. I will say, because we're in a group of chronic illness girlies, I feel like I can say this because I have
Please.
celiac and IBS, and so I feel like I can get a lot done when I feel really bad because I know how to disassociate a little bit and keep
Yeah.
pushing, you know? I
Right.
can really put that mind over matter. But yes, I have gotten a lot done. I am slowing down a lot. I will say that. It'll get you fast, especially in August. But yes, I'm determined to do a fall garden for my mental health, because I'm kind of at the point where I'm not really doing it for today, Brooke. I'm doing it for Brooke in October and November and what she's gonna need. And
Yeah.
so that's more motivating to me than doing it right now, because right now I just want to sit on the couch and eat fudgesicles.
Oh my God, please. That sounds like the dream.
When are
So-
you due, Brooke?
Yeah. Well, it was a secret, I think.
Oh, it's okay.
Oh.
I'm no, it's fine. It's fine.
Oh.
I'm due in October. But first baby, you really never know when it's gonna
Yeah.
happen. So it's that's why I haven't been super clear on my socials, because I don't I don't know. I don't want people to anticipate it, you know?
I've been doing the same thing. Yeah, I'm December,
Yeah.
but also it might be Thanksgiving or Christmas. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, such a wide time frame.
Yeah.
So but yeah, in October. So I did plant, I have some winter squash going that is doing
Perfect.
amazing. I planted Seminole pumpkins because of you, Meg.
Perfect. How are they
Yes.
doing?
Influenced.
Mine are not doing well.
I'm so sorry, mine are doing great. I'm attempting to combat the squash vine borers because we get them really bad here in Central Texas. I should probably say that for anybody who doesn't know. I'm in Central Texas. I'm in Zone 9A. So it is hot,
Yeah.
like Satan's armpit hot. And but the squash are doing great. And the squash are planted next to some big sunflowers, which
The controversy.
We're going to be talking about
Here
some
we
hot
go.
takes
we're
today.
talking about hot takes today.
Bringing in the hot take number one.
So
Right.
do you want me to get after it, or should I
Please.
Go
wait?
for it. Go for it, please.
So, and I know you guys have talked about this before because I'm a dedicated listener to the pod. But
I appreciate you.
I planted sunflowers, and I had, so going backwards, I had this viral feral garden tour where people saw sunflowers and then saw my crappy, I don't even remember what plant it was, but people were like, oh, sunflowers are gonna leach toxins into the soil and kill everything around it and all this stuff and blah 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 and whatever. And I did a bunch of research because I was like, weird. I've grown sunflowers forever. I've been gardening for a really long time. And also that was something that I learned how to garden from a bunch of Austin hippies at a community garden. Like, and I say that with all the love in my heart.
Love that.
They're like, they were like in their 50s, 60s, hippies. Some of them would walk around barefoot, like straight up, tattoos. You can tell. I was like, you've been around the block a few times, you know, in life.
Right.
And I was like, they would have told me that. And so it turns out there could be some truth to it, but there could not be some truth to it. It's one of those like weird things. In my lived human experience, it's never been the case, like ever.
Oh,
Mine either. Like
okay, I was gonna
I
say,
get the same
is this
comments.
something that you guys have experienced? Because maybe I've just lost my mind.
Trust me, anytime a sunflower is on my page, everyone loses their minds. Either I'm eating it,
But yeah, because you're eating it. Yes.
or if it's like near my plants or whatever, everyone, I don't know why sunflowers are so controversial, but that's never been my experience. I've grown them in my garden beds right next to my main crops. I've grown them outside of my garden beds in my pathways. Like all of my volunteers are coming up just everywhere. I have Mexican sunflowers right now next to my peppers that are doing amazing. Like, I don't think there's no concrete scientific evidence.
No.
so
that
like,
is
where
pointing
did
to
where did this come from? Like, what's the conspiracy here?
Hold on, I have a conspiracy theory.
Please.
Because let me tell you, the hole was deep and I dove all the way down into it. So I think what happens is like sunflowers are heavy feeders. Okay, like
Yes.
that's a fact, right? Like that's a lived experience I know we've all had. If you don't amend your soil, which like that's a whole other thing that for the last couple of years I've just had a wild ride, like we talked about at the beginning. For the last couple of years I got married, I'm having a baby, and so I have not been following my like routine of amending my soil, and it shows. And so I got to get back to that. But I think if you don't properly amend your soil, then what you're going to experience is that sunflower is going to take the nutrients that are left because they're aggressive growers and they're heavy feeders, and then whatever you've got planted around it is not going to do well.
That makes
I
sense.
think you hit the nail on the head with that. I think that's exactly what is going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think people are like maybe planting sunflowers in soil that's not great, or they're just not supplementing, they're not fertilizing like they should.
Right.
And then everything else is being stunted. It's not because the sunflower is doing anything. It's just because it's
So
eating
where
a
did
lot.
that
It's
come
eating a lot of
from then?
nutrients.
Because that's what I had heard, is that like it's literally leaching something into the soil that is preventing, like stunting the growth of other things. And
think
nobody's
that
been able to
that's a
prove
theory, right?
It's like allelopathic.
Right, yeah.
Allelopathic. I don't know. I can spell it because I've read it so many times in my
I
comments. But I
feel
have
the
no
same.
idea how to say it.
Yeah. I'm the same with like every plant word. I'm like, I let Meg pronounce things because she's our science friend.
I don't know if I can even pronounce that one.
She has
Allelopathic.
a whole degree in biology, despite what people in the comments think. Oops.
Yeah, but I did graduate like almost a decade ago now. Well, like 8 years ago. So it's been a while. I am rusty. I think that's just kind of a theory. And what I think is maybe it affects certain plants that might be more susceptible to something like that. Like, you know, I don't know. I don't think it's something that we should be taking at face value and just making a general assumption about everything for sunflowers, because the same could be said about brassicas and other heavy feeders.
Yeah.
Brassicas,
Garlic.
melons. Yeah, like all of these heavy feeders, if you plant other things around them, like you have to make sure you're fertilizing or the same thing's going to happen.
Yeah.
Or
so.
like corn. Corn's another like super heavy feeder that you have to like be really careful about. But see, yes, okay. It might affect certain things, but in my comments specifically, people were like beans and potatoes. Specifically. Oops, sorry. Too aggressive.
She's worked up.
I'm drinking coffee. We're talking about hot takes.
Oh no, she's caffeinated too.
She's caffeinated and bothered. But see, okay, like, right. So I have these beautiful big Mongolian giant sunflowers right now in my garden. I amended the beds before I planted. I planted the sunflowers. 2 weeks later, I planted squash in between the sunflowers. It was like a whole thing. And now what I'm noticing, that's the bed that we always grow potatoes in, because it's like real deep, the soil's fluffy. So people are like, oh, this only affects beans and potatoes. Y'all, there
Not
are
true.
potatoes.
No.
There are potatoes popping up that we like forgot to harvest or whatever, like
Yeah.
they just were hiding. They're popping up right next to the sunflower roots. So I'm like, at some point, and this is just me, your lived experience has to outweigh whatever random things you're reading
Yeah.
on the internet. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why it's so important to experiment in the garden. If you see something, like, do it anyway. I saw
it.
that, like the whole sunflower bean thing. I decided to plant beans to grow up my sunflower,
Yeah.
pole beans. It was great. It was like a natural trellis for the pole beans. They did great. They were super productive. And I got a free, like, little trellis out of it.
Well, and isn't that another version of Three Sisters?
I was gonna say, like,
Right.
beans are
Yes,
nitrogen
like-
fixers. Like, I wouldn't think of all the things that they would have issues with nutrient like competition, because they literally they generate the nutrients. I don't understand. It's very weird to me. I wonder too if it's like different varieties of sunflowers maybe have more of these bad characteristics than others. I typically just grow in my beds with other things like the dwarf teddy sunflowers, and I have never noticed an issue with those. But also maybe they're like shading things out. Like there's so many reasons beyond just like this mysterious allopathic function that's happening that could be caused by many other plants as well, not just sunflowers specifically. So I don't understand why they've been so villainized.
Right. I would think, and I don't know if this is true, but I would think that the heavier feeders would be like the mammoth ones, the ones that are heavily producing seeds, like big heads and big seeds, rather than the branching ones.
But see, that's the one I have growing right next to my Seminole pumpkin, and that Seminole pumpkin do be thriving. So I'm just kind of looking. I look at it every day, and I go, I go,
Right. No, it's interesting. Like the whole like garden hacks thing, I feel like plays into this as well. Like there's so many just like 5-minute do this. Like what was one we had a garden confession when we were recording that was like put a rose stem in a potato, which maybe you could speak to this, Brooke, as our resident rose gardener. Why are we sticking rose stems in potatoes to propagate them? I don't understand this.
Yeah.
No, I just think in general, like the whole, like, okay, sunflowers are bad, like stick roses and potatoes. Like we're trying to add this like shock factor and like get a message across in 30 seconds. And it ends up like being very unhelpful. And I think just making people feel less confident in taking those risks and making bold choices, if you will, which I feel like all three of us tend to do in the garden. It's exciting to scroll through, but it's not actually helping anyone grow any food.
It makes people confused more than anything, especially if they're beginners, because they're seeing all of this, like, I should plant with this, and I shouldn't plant this with this, and then I should plant this with this. And it's like, it's so confusing because you see all this information and you're like, okay, what can I plant next to each other? And at the end of the day, I think it doesn't really matter as much as it seems to matter online.
No.
Like companion planting, for sure. I think when you're more experienced is like something that could be more of like a support to your garden practice. I don't think it's an end all be all thing. And there's very, very little concrete evidence for companion planting with certain things, especially flowers. People think that there's certain flowers, when we're talking about pest control, organic pest control, people think there's certain flowers that will deter certain pests. The only one that has concrete evidence for this is marigolds versus root knot nematodes. That's the only one.
Well, and isn't it specifically French marigolds?
Yes. It's specifically French marigolds. It can't be African marigold. It can't be any of the other ones. So yes, I always plant French marigolds with my tomatoes because they can deter. But other than that, there's no concrete evidence that like that the marigolds are going to deter aphids or they're going to deter any other pest. There's no evidence for it. So don't like break your back being like, oh, I have to plant this and this and this. And it, I don't know, it may or may not work.
So like, I don't know about you guys, but my grandparents grew up gardening and they were just like experts at like not making it complicated. And I value that so much. Like when I talk to them, it's one of those things where I will never forget my grandma. The first time I grew potatoes, I like called her. I'm all excited. I'm, Grandma, I'm growing potatoes. I said, but I don't know when they're ready. I looked online and there were all these things and blah, 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 blah. And she just whips out. She goes, oh, honey, just wait for the vines to die. Why are you making this so hard?
Right.
And I was like, oh. I was like, oh, it's like that easy? And also on the pest thing, can confirm that marigolds do not deter other pests because in central Texas, bugs are like as big as they are in Australia, which is supported by another viral reel I had where Australians were like, oh my God, that's scary. And I was like, the fact that you think that's scary makes me scared. Like the fact that people in Australia are like, Texas is scary. I'm like, I mean,
maybe I should move.
Wow.
yeah. I'm like, oh, you were scared by this? That's horrifying. But yeah, no, the whole like marigold thing, I think like to your point, it's almost like the really seasoned gardeners get like a kick out of it being too complicated. So that and it's kind of weird, right? Like in my opinion, it's kind of weird for it to be like this big complicated thing. And then you have all these beginners who are scared to start because the hill to get started feels so big.
Right.
And it's really not. Like a lot of my friends in my personal life, they're like just now starting to like ask me questions and get interested and like all this stuff because they've watched me do it, and I'm like very much an F around and find out kind of gal. And so they're not intimidated by it because it feels like the barrier to entry is so much less. Whereas like when we're making it so complicated, like, okay, you can only plant this thing with this thing at this specific time.
Yeah.
And you're just
on a full moon.
on a full moon in the dark. Yeah. And like on your head. Like, you know, it just, you have to do a handstand while you're planting it. Like, why? It's too hard, man.
We're overcomplicating it. And at the end of the day, what matters is, okay, yes, the companion planting does have a place because what you're doing with companion planting is you're increasing the biodiversity in your garden.
Exactly.
And you're attracting the beneficial insects. That is the only benefit to planting lots and lots of flowers. Companion planting, not, you know, monoculturing your garden. Like, yes, you do want to plant flowers with all of your vegetables, but not because they're deterring pests, because they're attracting the beneficial insects. They're increasing the biodiversity of the bug life in your garden, and you're creating an ecosystem. At the end of the day, that's what you want to focus on, is creating a balanced ecosystem, not should I plant this with this. Because
I also
that
think
is overcomplicating.
Absolutely. I also think that we've really focused too much on this idea of like trap crops and all of that, and like what about companion planting? Why aren't we talking about the fact that like you should be balancing nutrient needs? Like that is also companion planting. Like putting your beans with your tomatoes, not planting your tomatoes with your peppers because they have the same nutrient demands. Like that is also companion planting, but it's not as much a part of the discussion, I feel like, because it doesn't like grab attention and cause controversy the way that talking about like a certain flower is going to magically fix everything. Honestly, that's where I focus my energy when it comes to companion planting, is thinking more about like what things grow well together, what things have different depths of root systems, so they're not going to compete in that way. And that, more than anything, has allowed me to make my garden more efficient and grow more food because I can put things that are smaller with things that are bigger. That's still companion planting.
I do that too, and I always make sure there are flowers in every bed. As long as there are flowers in every veg bed, you're good. It doesn't matter what flowers they are. Just put the flowers in your veg bed, and to your point, put the smaller plants with the bigger plants. Like, think about heights, right? Like if you have a trellis where you can grow peas vertically and then you can grow something along the ground, like that's even why I do melon lawn every year, where I just let my melons take over my grass, which is like both a good and horrible thing. It's very magical. It feels very fairy-like to like walk out and be like, a melon. But yeah, it just like, you have to just think about all that stuff instead of like, I have to have this one specific flower next to this one specific vegetable. Make it broader.
Diversity, good soil. You can grow anything as long as you have those two things, I think.
Electroculture. I'm going to go there. It makes people real angry.
Oh, we're going all the way there. I see.
Oh, boy. Talk about like the 5-minute hacks. I don't know. So we're talking about, if you don't already know, like sticking a piece of copper wire in your garden, essentially. Like it's supposed to just somehow make your plants more productive because it's harnessing currents of energy. This has been thoroughly debunked. Thoroughly. Like, yeah, metal conducts electricity, but not at the volume and in the wavelengths that would, like, they have in a like a laboratory study setting proven that, like, if you blast the heck out of a plant with certain currents, it may grow bigger and faster and better. That's not what sticking a wire in your garden bed is doing. It's not replicable in a real, like, garden environment.
No.
That's not how it works.
Again, it's like snake oil. Like people are just looking for like these quick fixes, these magical.
Yeah. But then I don't understand, because typically with all of those, what you see is like someone's trying to sell something. And this is the one thing where I've looked at it and been like, well, they're not even selling anything. Like, I have not been able to find, most of the videos are like, just buy any copper wire. They're not saying buy my copper wire. So I don't understand what the benefit to them is other than like views.
I think it's literally just views. And I do think, like, just like I have a conspiracy theory about this one too, just like the sunflower. I think what happens is that, because I am very intrigued by soil science, despite all of my viral videos, people being like, you need this, you need this, you need that. Like, I'm good, I got it. I like teach gardening classes about soil science, and I have like a 36-page ebook that I give to people that come to my classes about like the nitrogen cycle, the phosphorus cycle, like all this stuff. And so interestingly, I think people think that the copper wire is helping, but I think they actually probably just amend their soil really well, and they probably get a decent amount of rain, because there is some truth to the fact that lightning with it before like a rainstorm does assist in putting more nitrogen into your soil when it rains. There is truth to that. And so, but I think what happens in people's brains is they go, electricity in the sky equals copper in the ground. And you're like, that's not how did we get there? That makes no sense. So like, I think it's one of those things where it's like, there's some weird parallel that like people, I almost want to look at people and be like, you're on the right track. we're close.
You're getting there.
You're really close. You're just not quite there. And so that's my conspiracy theory about the whole electroculture thing. But I do agree. There's like, the only motivation for people seems to be views, because it's like shocking.
Yeah. It's like a placebo effect. And it is easy to become influenced, especially when you are a beginner and you're trying to learn more about gardening. You don't know what's true or not until you try it again, like with the whole sunflower thing. So, you know what? Just let people find out for themselves, I think. You know, if you want to go for it, go for it. But I don't think it has any merit to it. I think it is a huge, just like placebo.
I'm a big F around and find out. I encourage you. Go do the crazy thing. Maybe it works for you. I don't know. Like, I mean, there's no scientific evidence it's going to be abundantly clear. But like, I don't know your life.
Right.
You know?
No. I think it all comes back to this idea that beginners especially feel like they have some sense of control in the garden. And I think the more you garden, the more you realize how untrue that is. Like, every year I'm like, whoa, that thing that I thought was going to do great is doing terribly. Oops. Like, I literally could not have done anything differently. I am doing everything right, and then things still go wrong. But it gives people this sense of like, I have done all the things, so it's going to work. And the only way to kind of get out of that mindset is to watch it not work. So you have to like let yourself fail.
Because to be fair, as a beginner, you probably are desperate and you probably are grasping at straws because you don't know what's going on, and you probably have a ton of pests, and like, this is all very new. You don't know what to do. You're overwhelmed. Like, I remember that was my exact thought my very first year of gardening. There were pests everywhere. I had plants dying. I was desperate, and I was like kind of almost looking for these magical fixes. You realize that it's more just like we said, like the ecosystem, building your ecosystem is what, and unfortunately that takes a long time. It takes years. It takes
and seasons. I think that ends up discouraging a lot of beginners, as they don't realize that their first garden is most likely going to suck simply because you don't have that diversity and that ecosystem. You're fighting against so many outside forces that are not yet in balance in your garden that are going to take time to come into balance.
At my community garden, because that's where I started, was in this like big, very well established community garden that like previous to it being a community garden, it was a fish hatchery. It had been a community garden for like 10 years. So the soil was stupidly amazing. Like, just, I mean, you still had to amend it, you still had to mulch, you still had to weed, you still had to do all the things. And because I had all these like elder Austin hippies teaching me how to garden, I feel like I had a totally opposite experience where I did not really learn how to garden on the internet. So like I learned how to garden from people who were like I'll never forget this one guy. His name is Paul. I hope he's still with us in the world. If not, I'm sure he's in a wonderful place because he was a wonderful person. But Paul, he would come up to me and give me like, you want to talk about hot takes? Y'all.
Please.
They were brutal with their hot takes, and they would say it right to your face. I mean, there was no keyboard warrioring at the community garden. It was face warrioring right to your face. And so Paul would come up and I'd be like, Paul, like, what's going on? Like, nothing will grow. He goes, did you feed it? How do you expect something to grow if you don't feed it? Like,
I love the attitude.
Oh, attitude. Yeah. And I was like, oh. And so I really got to learn the basics, like, and not learn all the internet, like, gardening stuff. And I feel like that was so helpful for me. And so, like, I've had a bit of a different experience. And also the ecosystem there was very well established. We had a resident fox. We had birds. We had bird feeders. We had bees in the garden. I feel a little spoiled.
No, but I think
you have gardening privilege.
I do. I had garden privilege, I think. Yeah, because I don't know. I feel like I skipped all the BS. I skipped all the internet BS. So like when I heard about like electroculture for the first time, I was like, well, that's stupid. Like instantly. I didn't even question it. You know what I mean? And sometimes I think that's like my hottest of hot takes as of yesterday was that I have tarped with farmers plastic about half of my beds because I'm very pregnant and I need to kill the Bermuda grass. It's a proven method. Silage tarps are used by farmers and market gardeners all the time, but people get so self-conscious about doing stuff like that and using it as a tool because of everything they hear on the internet.
I have a lot to say about this as well, having also like being pregnant right now. Like I know like Meg, you're very no spray, and like I have also been very no spray in the past, but this year I've been like, you know what? I'm growing a human. Like it's organic stuff, but I'm spraying it because there's just no way around like needing that extra little bit of help. And so when I saw that you were tarping the beds, I was like, you go, girl. Like, fine. Like, I get it. You have to do these things sometimes. It doesn't mean you're always going to do it. And it doesn't mean you can't do it in a way that's conscientious. Like you're talking about, like using a tarp that's not actually degrading already. So it's not going to break down and put microplastics into your soil. You're thinking about it. You're doing it in an intentional way.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where, and it was funny because I had one person comment on that video that was like, plastic police here and good job, you're using it in the right way. And I was like, yeah. And then there was somebody else that was like, plastic police, why aren't you using cardboard? And I was like, ma'am, let's just like sit down and think about this for a second. I'm gonna hold your hand while we have this conversation. How much cardboard do you think, how much consumption of other random things would I have to do to have enough cardboard to cover all these beds?
Yeah.
Then I have to weigh it down. Like Central Texas is very breezy, windy. I mean, right now it feels like hot dog breath in your face because it's hot outside. But it's like the whole point is so I have less to manage, and you want me to run outside this pregnant and be like chasing cardboard in my yard all the time?
No. Not to mention it's so heavy, like, and just getting it like all flattened and ripping all the plastic tape and stuff off of it. And then like a tarp is a lightweight, easy, fast thing you can do.
Yeah. And I feel like sometimes, and again, this is like where I really feel for beginners because, and I've watched it happen. I used to watch it happen at the community garden all the time. It happened to one of my best friends. Like she wanted to have a community garden plot, but she is very ego-conscious. Like very ego-conscious. She's like honestly one of the best people I know, and I don't know why she's friends with me because I am not. Like I look at her and I'm like, you're so good to the world and I don't know why you talk to me. So she didn't want to spray, she didn't want to use plastic, she didn't want to do anything harmful. But then you start canceling out so many options to where you're like, so what's left?
Right. And then it's like an accessibility issue too.
It's
Like this
I was
comes
gonna
up a
say,
lot
yeah.
with the plastic seed trays. Like we talk about that and like versus soil blocking and I always get these negative comments for using plastic seed trays. It's all about being intentional about getting stuff that's going to last and like doing the best that you can. If it's that or not being able to garden at all, of course I'm going to use the seed trays, you know?
Unfortunately, we live in a world where it can be very expensive to be eco-friendly.
It's a
Like
privilege,
it
yeah.
can be, yeah, and it is a privilege because unfortunately accessibility is an issue for a lot of people. And also, I've just given up the battle against microplastics. I just read this study the other day that like even our cars like
It's
are spewing
everything.
microplastics at us through the air vent.
Our
Yeah, we're
contact
getting
lenses,
microplastic,
like,
and it's like we live in a world where like I live in a city. There's no public transportation. Like North Carolina is the worst with public transportation. Everyone has to drive a car. You want to go
Yeah.
somewhere, you have to drive a car. Microplastics are in everything. It's in the air that we probably freaking breathe now. So whenever somebody says anything about microplastics, I'm like, I'm exhausted already because I'm just like, it's the battle. I've
no,
lost.
I
I've
know
given up.
I've said this before, like we're shaming gardeners for using a plastic seed tray. Never mind the fact that it means they're growing their own bell peppers, which means they're not getting a plastic wrapped bell pepper from the grocery store that was, even if it wasn't plastic wrapped, put on a conveyor belt that exposed it to microplastics in the process of it being harvested and cleaned to be sold. Like we're still reducing the impact even when we use
Let alone
plastic in a garden.
the carbon emissions that it took to get to you from probably thousands of
Right.
miles away.
Yeah. The average
Yeah.
piece of food comes from 1,500 miles away, I believe it is. So, like, literally, what are we supposed to do? We're placing the burden on the individual again when it's the whole
Yeah.
system that
Yeah.
is messed up.
It's the whole
Well,
thing.
and
The
there
whole-
you go again. It just discourages people. Like she had
Right.
her my friend had her community garden plot for like, I don't know, 6 months, and she just battled the weeds and all this stuff because she felt like her options were so limited because she's, again, a much better person than me. And like, I literally have one photo of her with like one sweet potato that she grew.
Oh.
I was like, we laugh about it now, but she's like, here's my one sweet potato, it's just at some point you have to like, I don't know. On the whole spraying thing though, Dagny,
Yeah.
I'm with you. I love that you guys are so good to the world. But anytime you talk, I really do. I love it. I do. I love hearing about it. It makes me feel warm inside. But you're not going to catch me dead walking out in my garden with a tiny vacuum.
But it's so fun.
I listen to me. I love you guys so much. Come stare the Texas-sized bug in the face, and then tell me that you're gonna vacuum them up. I would love. That's like I now have this vision of you both running around my garden with tiny vacuums, but also like running away from the big scary Texas bugs at the same time. So, I mean, everybody has to have their options, right? Like, last summer I had a really bad leaf-footed bug problem, and, like, so bad. Like, it was an infestation, to be abundantly clear. And they were, like, ruining my tomatoes, ruining everything. And I remember I was on the phone with my sister. I had my AirPods in. I have a glass of wine in one hand. This is not advised. I'm going to be abundantly clear. I had a glass of wine in one hand, and I had my sprayer with insecticidal soap in the other.
Oh, God.
I'm cringing, but I'm not judging.
Advise having an open liquid container while you're spraying anything. I'm fine. My baby's fine. Maybe he's going to have two heads. I don't know. We'll see. So
I think you'd know by now.
yeah, he doesn't. It's fine. But I literally was like, it's war. And I was just spraying and drinking my wine and talking to my sister at the same time. And she has this vivid memory of it happening. But like, that's how bad the problem has to get for me to spray is like, it has to be like a straight infestation.
Yeah.
And the joy I got deep in my soul of watching all of them fly up in the air. And then I started targeting them in the air. And it was my neighbors. My neighbors can't see into my backyard from a couple of their 2-story houses. I hope they enjoyed themselves that day.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just like I feel like everybody needs to have tools and know when to use their tools. But like straight up saying like, no, this is bad, don't ever do this. I've never tarped my garden beds, and I've been gardening on a large scale for like 6-7 years.
Yeah.
It's a tool to use in a specific situation. And I don't know, my hot take, I guess, in all of this is that like we have to stop demonizing everything all the time.
Agreed.
Because there's certain seasons where you need certain tools. And that's okay, you know?
And if that's the thing that keeps you gardening, then just do the thing. I can't imagine, unless you're literally spraying actual Roundup, I can't imagine like anything you're doing in the garden being worse than like consuming from a mass market grocery store. Like if you know anything about the food chain, how this whole supply cycle works is bad. I mean, if we're talking specifically in the States, obviously, I don't know how it is other places, but it's bad. So I think anything that's going to keep you in the garden, do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe don't stick your roses in potatoes.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued by that and slightly horrified. It has to just do with the moisture in the potato.
I don't know. It's haunting me. I need to Google it. I need to understand if there's any truth behind it whatsoever, because
I think there can't be any truth to that.
No.
Yeah.
There can't be.
It's got to literally just be the moisture. Because when I was at Heirloom Roses in May, we learned about how they propagate roses and like can confirm no potatoes involved.
Well, if the commercial growers aren't doing it, then I guess, that's all we need to know.
Just imagine there's like a commercial farm out there that literally
just
like
full
drops
of
in
potatoes.
a potato and then drops in a...
So weird. How bizarre.
I know. How do people even come up with this stuff? I wish I was that clever.
Clickbait. It's just clickbait.
Yeah, no, don't fall for the clickbait. Like, whether you're like a seasoned gardener or a beginner, like, don't do it. Don't fall for it.
If it looks too good to be true, it's probably not true.
True. Are there any hot takes that like you guys see and it instantly just boils your blood? Like, without even really thinking about it, it just instantly, you're like, I'm gonna punch a wall. I mean, maybe not that, because I just have more rage in my body than you guys probably do.
This is a legitimate hot take. Cut your fruit trees in half. This is very controversial. It makes other people's blood boil. It doesn't make my blood boil. Like, it works. You can do it. You can have tiny trees. That's my point, is you can have tiny trees and nobody believes me. But you
Wait,
can.
when you say cut your fruit trees in half, sorry, in my brain, you were like splitting the trunk down the middle.
Oh, no.
You're talking about the canopy.
Decapitate it.
Decapitate it.
Split it down the middle.
Yeah.
Slice it like a banana.
Just take an axe to it. It's fine.
Well, I don't know why I thought that was my first. I was like, why would you do that? But you're talking about like, you straight up cut off the canopy.
When I plant it and it's still like pencil thin or whatever, I cut it down to like 1.5 feet, 2 feet tall. Like above the graft.
I also feel like in general, people think of fruit trees. They're like, it's a tree. You put it in the ground, it grows. People like don't think about the fact that fruit trees have to be like maintained. There's disease. Like it's a crop that you have to cultivate just like a vegetable.
Yeah.
It's not like an oak tree that you just like yeet into the ground and like watch it grow.
I guess like overall my hot take is spacing in general. Because it's like every time someone's like, you have to plant these 12 inches apart, then I get angry immediately. Because this is just like, all of this comes back to following the advice on the packet, and I truly don't think that you should a lot of the time. I don't think it's meant for us. I just don't.
It's meant for farm. It's meant for like commercial farming.
Yeah. So
it's not meant for home gardeners.
So when I see these like perfect square foot gardens, I get angry. Mm-hmm.
Spacing is a rule that definitely should be broken. I do the same thing with my fruit trees. People think you can't grow fruit trees in containers. You can. Mm-hmm. You just keep them small. You can prune plants to be as small or as large as you'd like, including fruit trees.
No, I get mad when it's like, no, this is a legit hot take. Like, I understand there's bad ones, but you gotta believe me when I tell you you can do this thing.
Yeah.
Or like, what's it gonna harm if you try it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I always say, like, I mean, everybody's in a different economical situation that I understand. But, like, you can get a small fruit tree for, like, $20-$25 if you go to, like, a big box store, which, like, I don't encourage. But, like, if that's where you're at in life, that's fine. But, like, between a pot, a bag of soil, and, like, a little fruit tree, you can be in it for, like, $50.
Yeah.
Right.
So $50 just like, F around and find out.
And there's like
it
very
might work
little.
out great.
Yeah, like there's very little you can do to a tree that's going to be so catastrophic at that stage that it will never bounce back. It may take 3 to 5 years for you to get it where you want it again, but like we're not talking about taking a hacksaw to a tree that's already like 5 inches around. We're talking about a stick. The stick is a lot more forgiving than the full tree. There's a lot more we can do to it to like manipulate its size and shape early on, and I think it's worth the risk.
I mean, also, you can take a hacksaw to a large tree, and if you're me, it grows back 3 times the size.
Let me guess, it was a stone fruit.
It was a peach.
Yeah, they do that.
Oh my God. I'm like looking at her being like, I'm just going to leave you alone.
They will never die. I just pruned mine. I do like summer pruning on mine as well to reduce the size. And I didn't realize how fast the peach tree had grown. I had like a tag with wire wrapped around it to identify the type. And the wire had literally grown into the tree to the point where like it was bleeding black stuff. And you would never have known that the tree was being injured in this way by the way it had been growing. Like, they will not die.
Yeah.
They're the most durable tree ever.
Well, this one specifically also was a cutting that I took from my community garden, because I don't know if you guys know this, but in one of my F around and find out, there are no rules moments. I took a cutting from a peach tree from my community garden before I left, like before we like bought our house. And I rooted it. I literally stuck it in rooting hormone and put it in the dirt.
What?
And I grew a whole tree.
I have questions. You didn't have to graft it?
This is what I did. I said, snip, that branch looks fine.
What?
And I don't know how I picked the branch. I just said, that one works. I literally dipped it in the little thing of rooting hormone, and I was sitting with one of my good friends, and we were doing a bunch of figs and like a bunch of stuff, and I literally stuck it in it was a plastic pot with just potting soil, and I stuck it in there and watered it, and now I have a massively huge peach tree.
Hold on. I didn't think you could do this with fruit trees. I'm so confused. Like, so wait.
I just work here. I don't know.
Questions.
I have no idea.
I think you can. I think like commercial like fruit growers, they just use grafts to get like a good root stock. But I think technically you can propagate.
So
and it will be true to type still.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, like because it's the...
In my head, I was sitting here thinking to myself, all right, well, this massive peach tree has been here for like 10 years. It's used to the environment. The genetics are good, right? Like, it knows what it's doing. I was like, surely this will work. And like, it did.
Now I need to try this.
I've gotten one peach from it so far, but it has grown in the last 3 years like wild.
You should have made a video about all of this.
I know.
I feel like I'm going to get dunked on.
That's how you know it's a good video.
I'm going to get dunked on so hard. People just aren't going to believe me. But no, it's another hot take. Just like, I don't know, try the thing. I just didn't know any better because I literally didn't do any research. I was like, oh, this is how you do figs. Surely this is how it works for everything.
I mean, I guess you were right. Yeah, your intuition had it there.
Step around and find out.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I love that you are saying I have any level of intuition. That's really kind of you.
You have to. Come on.
I think it was like dumb logic. It was just like, it was literally like 2 + 2 = 3.
That's intuition.
You know? Like
gardening intuition.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the whole fruit tree thing, I think it's way more flexible than people think it is.
I agree.
Way more flexible than people think it is.
Gardening in general is just way more flexible than people think it is. I do have one more hot take that does kind of, it doesn't make me angry right away, but I'm just kind of like, what are you doing? Like when people take the banana peels.
Oh my God, the banana
soak it in water. And then they use that to fertilize their garden, and they think that that's enough potassium for their garden. I'm like, okay,
the eggshells too.
And the eggshells. I'm like, okay, this is why like you're planting your sunflowers with things and they're not growing, because you're not like feeding your soil actual nutrition. You're feeding it this pseudo nutrition. Banana peels don't have anywhere near enough potassium that your plants need, and coffee grounds aren't gonna like, you know, acidify the soil or like whatever, all of this stuff. I'm like, just put it in your compost pile. That the best thing you can do with all that is put it in your compost pile, add it to your compost, let it degrade, let it break down, and then a year later add it to your garden. That's what you can do.
The thing with like put an egg in with your tomato plant for the calcium. That calcium is not bioavailable. I'm telling you right now. It's just not.
It's not going to work.
It's not.
Okay.
No.
So I have another conspiracy theory on why these people think that this works. I think way too much about this stuff. Like, people keep telling me to slow down and relax. I don't think they realize that my brain doesn't turn off. So I have thought about this in depth. And it's funny because I used to watch this creator on YouTube, and everybody's probably seen her videos. It's fine. But she finally admitted one time, she was like, with the whole egg in the hole with the tomato thing, she was like, I probably think this works because I've been doing it for so many years that there is more calcium in my soil because I keep doing it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So the eggs break down. Like, it's not today's egg that's going to help me. It's the egg from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
And so with the banana peel thing, I think if you are willing to soak a banana peel and then spend the time spraying your garden with it, I can almost guarantee you that type of person is really good to their soil.
Right. Yeah.
If you are willing to do that. So it's not the banana peel. It's the fact that you watered good soil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what made the difference. I have so many feelings about all of that because it's the same thing as like my melon bed that I grow onions and melons in the same bed every year. Like, let's talk about breaking the crop rotation rule. Okay.
Oh yeah, I do that. Mm-hmm.
You know, but it's the bed. It's like my lucky. So when I put bone meal in to supplement phosphorus because we plant onions in January.
Yeah.
And it's so early that the soil is literally too cold to release the phosphorus to be bioavailable. The soil has to be a certain temperature for the phosphorus to be bioavailable so that onions can actually bulb. So I always amend with bone meal when I plant onions, which is why I end up with good onions. But bone meal is also really good for melons. So I leave a hole in the middle of my onion bed to stick my melon plant in the spring. And then it has all this bone meal all in the soil. And not only have I supplemented with bone meal, but now the bone meal in the soil is bioavailable. And that's how I end up with giant melon plants. So it's like, once you understand the real science, you can hack the system.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because those are actual supplements to the soil. Those
banana peels ain't it.
Right.
Nope. No.
Those banana peels are doing nothing. They need to go into the compost. And also just like burying your kitchen scraps directly into the garden is going to be the same thing. It's not going to help you that year. You're going to be better off just throwing it in a compost pile. Don't bury it in your garden. You could attract critters to your garden. 1. 2, it's not going to break down quickly. It could cause imbalances in your soil. Just put it in a compost pile, break it down, and then add it in. That's the best thing to do.
Yeah, all those little hot takes also, like, it is way too much work for me to go remember which bed I put the scraps in the last time and then have to find a hole and just do that. I did that one time. The last time walked out with my bowl of kitchen scraps and I started looking around and I go, oh my God, where did I put it the last time?
Right. It's just another thing you have to keep track of. Like, why would you make this more complicated?
This is not information I store in my brain.
No.
You know, so it just makes it like, put it all in one place, put it in your compost pile.
Yeah, right. Just have a pile.
Move on with your life. It's just, we're overcomplicating this, guys.
That's the moral of the story. Like, gardening is just it's being overcomplicated.
There you go.
Let's all just chill out. Let's just chill.
Everybody relax. Back to basics. Like, if I could come to everybody's garden and be the like elder Austin hippie that just like teaches you the basics, I would love to do that. I can't teleport myself to that many people, and also I'm not as friendly as I come off. But like, if I could just knock you upside the head and be like, soil, water, sun. Bam. 2 of those you can control, right? Like, soil, water. It's just not, we don't need copper wire, we don't need banana peels, we don't need extra eggs, we don't need all this crazy stuff.
Moral of the story.
I know.
To wrap up a really great episode.
all of our hot takes.
I feel better. I got to vent, so
I know, right? It did feel like a venting session.
yeah.
Felt very therapeutic. Thanks, Brooke.
Yeah.
Listen, if I would love anytime you need a little therapy sesh. We all know I love being feral on the internet. I'm also pretty feral in real life. So anytime, I will always talk about the hot takes, and I will always tell people when something is dumb and when it's not well researched. But I'm also willing to admit I'm wrong.
This is true.
Right.
And
'Cause we
that's
all
why we
have
love
to.
you. And that's
We
They
got-
could 50 years from now, they could come out and say, you know what, electroculture, there's science to it, and then we'll all have to eat our words. And we
I'm
will do that
willing.
if
I'm
that
willing to
happens.
accept that. Yeah.
Yeah,
In
we're willing to
50
accept that.
In 50 years, I am going to be a garden hobbit with like waist length gray hair, and I hope that I hope I'm like the weird garden lady in 50 years. And
You're gonna be that hippie, that Austin hippie. That you're gonna exactly
Full circle.
I
Full
mean,
circle.
full circle moment.
I'm trying. I'm doing my best. I'm working my way there slowly, you know.
Yes.
So, well, thanks guys so much for having me on. This was so fun, and
Of course, anytime.
Thank you
I
so
know.
much for being here. You're welcome anytime. Unfortunately, we could talk to Miss Brooke forever, but you know, all good things have to come to an end. So you can find Brooke at What Brooke Grows on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
yes,
Is that all the places we can find you?
all the places,
And it's all
yep.
the same.
All
Okay.
the same.
Okay. And then you can find me at Megro's Plants and Dagny at The Cottage Peach. And then you can also find the Garden Girls on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. All of the places. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.